took off for promising voters she has a plan for the biggest issues facing our next president. So what is her plan to fix the current mess that we're in with Iran? Let's ask her. Please welcome back Senator Elizabeth Warren. I know you came to see her. You do want to hear what she has to say, don't you? So hold on. There's plenty of time to hoop and holler. So let's start with the airstrike ordered by the guy in the White House. What's your take on all this? Do you find the timing is as odd as some of us did?
Yes. So my take on this is Soleimani was a bad guy. But the question is, what's the right response? The job of the President of the United States is to keep America safer. And having killed Soleimani does not make America safer. I mean, look at where we are right now. We're having to pull American citizens, civilians, out of the entire region because we fear for their safety. We've stopped the work against ISIS with our allies, and we have a president of the United States who is tweeting threats of war crimes. So there's the immediate effect.
Tell them what that was.
Yeah.
The war crime, the cultural institution.
So he is threatening to bomb cultural institutions. It's just a violation of international law, and it would be a war crime if the United States did that. And, you know, his own Secretary of Defense has stepped in and said, actually, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But here's the thing. He has moved us close to the edge of war. He's put our country on the edge of going to war. We know that the Iranians are going to respond. He's been in this escalation. This wasn't a one-off. This didn't happen all by itself. So I think of it, as I said, the job of the President of the United States is to keep America safe, to have a coherent long-term strategy, not to make impulsive decisions. And Donald Trump has taken us in exactly the opposite direction. Let me put it this way. We need a president who actually has good judgment and is willing to follow through.
You know, Senator, you, first of all, we have had conversations. I believe you respect the American military and respect our troops. You've traveled overseas many times, so I just want to say that first and foremost. Sure. You issued a statement calling Soleimani a murderer. Later, you issued a second statement saying that he was, quote, an assassination of a senior foreign military official. Now, this is a man who obviously is responsible for hundreds of American troops' deaths, carnage that we can't even imagine. The Treasury Department and the State Department have both designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. I don't understand the flip-flop. I don't understand why it was so hard to call him a terrorist, and I would just like you to explain.
So, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your kind comments. You know, all three of my brothers served in the military. We've talked about this before.
I believe you respect the military.
And I know you do, too. This isn't a change. They're true. The question is, what is the response that the President of the United States should make, and what advances the interests of the United States of America? Think about Saddam Hussein. You want to talk about a bad guy, right? However, going to war in Iraq was not in the interests of the United States. We lost thousands of American lives. It cost us here at home. It has cost us around the world. It has been a part of this cost in the Middle East that has ended up with millions of people who've lost their lives, who've been injured, who've been displaced. the question for the President of the United States is to understand what's going on, have an overall strategy, and pick an appropriate response. And going back to Whoopi's question, at an appropriate time. He's part of a group that has been designated.
Is he a terrorist?
He is part of a group that's been designated.
So he's not a terrorist.
Of course he is. He's part of a group that our federal government has designated as a terrorist. The question, though, is what's the right response? And the response that Donald Trump has picked is the most incendiary and has moved us right to the edge of war. And that is not in our long-term interest.
Well, and that's the question that I have for you, because I agree with you when you stated that, Trump tweeting that 52 Iranian sites, including cultural sites, would be targeted if there's a retaliation or retaliatory move by Iran. That would be a war crime. But if you were president, what would be your strategy? Because the Middle East has been an issue that has plagued so many administrations. Yes. I mean, you've seen the Trump administration withdraw from the Iran agreement, which is the nuclear agreement, which is one that the Obama administration really backed, because the Obama administration was really one of more diplomacy, I think. And we've seen something very different from this administration. What would a Warren administration look like in terms of Middle East policy?
Let's start where you and I were talking.
Yeah.
We have the finest military on earth. Yeah. And they will make any sacrifice we ask them to make, they and their families. But that means it is the responsibility of the commander-in-chief not to ask our military to solve problems that cannot be solved militarily.
Right.
And that's what's gone wrong. We've now been at war for 20 years in the Middle East.
Right.
And that has not made us safer. We need to be willing, we need to have the confidence and the strength to use all of our tools, our diplomatic tools, our economic tools. We need to be willing to work with our allies. The Iran nuclear deal really showed that diplomacy can work. It didn't make Iran a great actor, that's not the point. But we actually got them to the negotiating table, working with our allies, and got them to stop their nuclear program, their nuclear development program.
Well, now they're back on it.
Because Donald Trump jumped in and didn't just withdraw. Come on. He tore it up. He did the tweets. He did the whole thing. While our allies are saying, don't do this. Don't do this. This is not going to make the world safer. And the international community had already certified that Iran was following the terms of the deal. You know, think what that means for America. America gets into a deal with someone and says, if you'll do this part, here's what we'll do. And you do your part, and then America turns around and says, sorry, we're just going to tear that up, and then take a series of escalating steps against Iran. And again, the point is not whether or not Iran is a bad actor. They are. I think we can all agree to that.
They've been provocative as well.
They have been. But the question is, what are the right steps for the president? Use our diplomacy, use the back channels, de-escalate, and get Iran to the negotiating table.
We'll be back with more with Senator Elizabeth Warren.